Hi, my name is Alicia and I'm from the Wade Public Library. Today we are going to do science and stories. First, I'm going to read you a story and then we're going to do a science experiment together. So, our very first story is going to be Stragonona by Tommy DePaula. And as you can see, I have this in ebook version. So if you want to check out more of our digital resources, go to waylibrary.info. All right, let's get started with reading Stragonona.
Stragonona, an original tale written and illustrated by Tommy DePaula. In a town in Calabria, a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Stragonona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the covenant went, because Stragonona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands, and she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Stragonona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden, so she put up a sign in the town square. And Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. "Anthony," said Stragonona, "you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her. You must fetch the water. For this I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazie," said Big Anthony. "One thing you must never do," said Stragonona, "is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable, and I don't let anyone touch it." "Oh, see, yes," said Big Anthony. The days went by. Big Anthony did his work, and Stragonona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in next to the goat shed and had food to eat. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Stragonona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Stragonona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot. Boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Stragonona sang, "Enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." "How wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot for sure." And Stragonona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony, because he didn't get to see Stragonona blow 3 kisses to the magic pasta pot. And this is what happened. The next day, when Big Anthony went to the town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally, everyone laughed at him because it sounded too silly. A pot that cooked all by itself? "You better go and confess to the priest, Big Anthony," they said. "Such a lie." And Big Anthony was angry, and that wasn't a very good thing to be. "I'll show them," he said to himself. "Someday I'll get the pasta pot and make it cook, and then they'll be sorry." That day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought, because 2 days later Stragonona said to Big Anthony, "Anthony, I must go over to the mountain to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep the house and weed the garden. Feed the goat and milk her, and for your lunch there are some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot." "Oh, yes, yes, Stragonona," said Big Anthony, but inside he was thinking, My chance has come. As soon as Stregonona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. Now let's see if I can remember the words, said Big Anthony. And Big Anthony sang, bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup, boil enough to fill me up. And sure enough, the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill up with pasta. Aha, said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain, and shouted, everyone get forks and plates and platters and bowls, pasta for all at Stregonona's house. Big Anthony has made the magic pasta pot work. Of course, everyone laughed, but ran home to get forks and plates and platters and bowls, and sure enough, when they got to Stregonona's, the pasta pot was so full it was beginning to overflow. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priest and the sisters from the convent. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings, but the pot was never empty. When all had had their fill, Big Anthony sang, enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot, so simmer down, my pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day. But alas, he did not blow the 3 kisses. He went outside, and to the applause of the crowd, Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to the compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling until a sister from the convent said, oh, Big Anthony, look! And the pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Stregonona's house and was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but the pasta kept pouring from it. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat on it. But the pasta raised the cover and Big Anthony as well and spilled on the floor of Stregonona's house. Stop! Yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop, and if someone hadn't grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the windows and through the doors came the pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. Do something, Big Anthony, they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it did no good. By this time, the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. We must protect our town from the pasta, shouted the mayor. Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade. But even that didn't work. The pasta kept bubbling, and the pasta kept coming. We are lost, said the people, and the priest and the sisters of the convent began praying. Pasta will cover our town, they cried. And it certainly would have, had Stregonona not come down the road home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know what had happened. She sang the magic song and blew the 3 kisses, and with a sputter, the pot stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. Oh, grazie, thank you, Stregonona, the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. String him up, the men of the town shouted. Now wait, said Stregonona. The punishment must fit the crime. And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. All right, Anthony, You wanted pasta from my magic pasta pot, Stregonona said, and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So start eating. And he did. Poor Big Anthony. The end.
I hope you enjoyed that story. Next, we are going to do an experiment. It's called Dancing Spaghetti. How do you think we're going to get spaghetti to dance? Now you can either watch me do the experiment or you can try it yourself. If you try it yourself, make sure that you get parental permission. Okay?
For today's experiment, you're going to need a tall glass or cup that is see-through. You're going to fill that up with 2 cups of water. You're going to need half a cup of vinegar and 8 teaspoons of baking soda.
You're also going to want something to stir with, and you're going to need some pasta. Finally, I recommend having something to catch any spillage that might happen. So something like a sheet that you would cook cookies on, or even a bowl, or you could do this in the sink. Next, you're going to want to add 8 teaspoons of baking soda. Once you get your baking soda in there, you're going to want to stir it all up. You're going to want to break your pasta into smaller pieces so they can fit into your cup and so we can get more dancing out of them. Okay, next we are going to add our little pieces of pasta. And notice how they sink to the bottom as soon as you put them in. Our last thing we're going to do is we're going to add our vinegar. Ready? Oh, big reaction. And we can see some of our pieces of pasta are floating up to the top from the reaction of the vinegar and the bubbles. Kind of watch them float up and dance. Gonna add a little bit more vinegar, see if we can get it going. Oh, I see one floating again. Add a little more. Yeah. So you can keep adding more vinegar, maybe stir it up a little bit to keep your reaction going, your dancing noodles going for as long as you like. Ooh, look at them go now.
Just a reminder that every experiment needs to end with cleaning up.
Wasn't that experiment fun? I hope you get a chance to try it out for yourself. And if you do, make sure that you let us know what you did and how it went. You can send us pictures. You can always also try it with other things. Like, what about bigger pieces of spaghetti or different kinds of pasta? Like, do you think macaroni will work? Or you could try it with rice, beans, maybe even raisins. So make sure that if you try it, you let us know. And until next time, stay safe, wash your hands. I'll see you again soon. Bye.